My name is Keith Frary. I am your interim chair or your chairman pro tem, as I've been designated. And I'd like to welcome you to the meeting. Can we call the roll?
Mr. Lateif,
Here.
Ms. McGinnis. Here. Mr. Dolman,
Here.
Mr. Green.
Here.
Mr. Hoke,
Here.
Acting Chair Frere.
Here. First order of business is, and I'll repeat this when each of you come up, I would like to welcome both of you to the meeting. This is a meeting where we normally have 7 board members. Tonight, we only have 6. Normally, you would have to get approval for your request, your variance, 4 out of the 7. You still need to, even with 6 members, get 4 out of the 6 for approval of your variance. Because we are a member short of a full board, you have the choice of proceeding tonight with your variance request, presenting, and we will rule on it, or you have the option to defer your variance to the December meeting. I believe, are we having a December meeting? To the December meeting, you don't have to refile, you don't have to do anything. We would just essentially move your variance request to December, where we plan to and fully expect to have a full 7-member board. Don't have to tell me now, but when you get up, I'll repeat this, and on the record, you'll have to let us know what your preference is, whether you wish to proceed or you'd like to defer to the December meeting. Okay? Regarding the minutes, I've been advised that we actually have 3 sets of minutes in our packet, an August, a September, and an October set. For the August and September sets of meeting minutes, we do not have a quorum present who were present at those meetings. So we're going to have to defer approval of the August and September minutes to the next meeting. Is that correct? We do have before us the October minutes, and I believe that we have a quorum related to that. So I would ask if there's any discussion or questions on the minutes.
We need a motion first.
I will move to approve first. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion, corrections, changes that we need to take place? Hearing none.
Mr. Lateif,
Yes.
Ms. McGinnis.
Yes.
Mr. Dolman,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Hoke,
Yes.
Chairman Frere.
Yes. The October minutes are approved. Will we please call the first case?
The appeal of Paul Koch for a variance from Section 220-53B and Section 220-13 Schedule IC of the zoning ordinance of the town of Niskuna as it applies to the property at 1429 Valencia Road, Niskuna, New York, located in the R2 Medium Density Residential Zoning District, to construct an addition partially within a designated side yard setback. Section 220-13 Schedule IC requires a side yard setback of 15 feet. Section 220-53B allows an addition to a non-conforming structure that brings it no nearer to the sideline than the existing structure, 5 feet, or 1/2 the required distance for the zoning district, whichever is greater. As applied, the minimum side yard setback requirement becomes 7.5 feet. As proposed, the addition will be 2 feet from the side property line. Therefore, a 5.5 foot side yard setback variance is required. 15 notices were sent out, 0 responses.
Mr. Koch, come forward to the microphone, please, sir. State your name and your address for the record.
My name is Paul Koch, 1429 Valencia Road, Niskuna.
Thank you, Mr. Koch. As you heard me explain before, we've got an issue of not a full board. I'm going to ask you at this time What's your choice, whether you would like to defer and move your variance request to the December meeting, or whether you'd like to proceed, understanding that you'll need to have 4 of the 6 members present to approve your variance.
I'll go with it today. Thanks.
Fair enough. Can you please give the board an idea of your variance request, any information you feel is pertinent for us to consider?
Well, said it was an addition, but it's really the current garage, the floor is all cracked and collapsing and stuff. So I'm going to take the current garage down, which is at a 5-foot line, and looking to expand to 3 feet, additional 3 feet. Because, many of the houses in old Niskuna were built in the early 20th century. And mine was built in 1938. And back then, the automobiles were not quite as large as they are here, and you didn't have snow blowers and lawn mowers and those kinds of things put in your garage. And, currently I try to park my hybrid Honda Clarity in the garage, and I'm forced to fold the mirror in, back it in, so I can get as close to the side as I can so I can open the door and get out of the vehicle. And so that in the winter, that is very difficult because, you get ice and snow, and I don't really want to slip and fall and that kind of thing, since, I'm now at the retirement age and don't want to have those things happen to me or my wife. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And what I'm looking to do is to kind of help modernize the garage so that it can be used for a vehicle that's, built now. I'm also, looking to put a master bath above it as well. But that would stay within that would only be 10 feet, not 13 feet.
So this will be essentially a two-story rebuild or addition?
Well, rebuild. Yeah. Well,
Part of it is
part
on
of
the
it's an
existing
addition, part of it's
footprint.
the rebuild of the garage. Because my wife and I had completed pretty much everything else in the house. We totally redid the outside, the kitchen, the floors in the house. I mean, getting ready for retirement, we figured get as much done as we can now. So, very little maintenance on the house, and the garage was really the last thing that we needed to do.
So you're looking to expand to the rear of the garage and also towards the property line side of the
Yeah,
garage?
not very much further, but I think it's like 2 feet deeper.
And you're also going to, in addition to the garage itself, you're going to put a little more addition up above the garage
Yes,
as well?
but as I said, that won't infringe on the 5-foot setback.
I'm sorry, you probably said this. Did we have any letters, anything that came in from neighbors?
0 responses.
I have a letter from the neighbor that was on the side where the garage will go. And,
Is this 1425? The neighbor at 1425?
1425.
Thank you.
Nick Matthews. Evan Matthews.
You make that a part of the record and go ahead and read it into the record.
I am the current property owner at 1425 Valencia Road, Niskuna, and I'm writing in support of the construction project addition at neighboring 1429 Valencia. I have
Discuss.
discussed the project with the Coles Koches, and see no reason why the plan should not be approved. Please feel free to contact me with any questions. Nick Matthews, 1425 Valencia.
Cursive.
Questions for the applicant?
Do you have a picture of what you're putting up?
Yeah, I had
A sketch.
included them with the,
We
So-
only see this.
Oh, I had 4 pictures and.
Well, we have this, but I want
Are you
a
talking-
picture of what you're proposing to build.
So
Oh,
I believe the concern here, correct me if I'm wrong, please, is one of the things that we need to consider is whether your requests have an undesirable change in the neighborhood. And so the physical appearance of what you're doing is important to our decision.
no, I didn't. I just had the plans, basic plans, drawn, the foot plans.
Okay.
It's gonna look just like it does now, only 3 foot wider, and then it's gonna meld into the rest of the
The
house.
siding's going to be the same.
Yeah, siding's gonna be the same. The roof shingles are gonna be the same, as I used on the other, construction that I've had done. It's gonna be a single garage door, similar to what I have now. I didn't get too far into it until I knew whether I could get the variance. I didn't realize I needed a picture of that.
You don't. It was just a question whether or not you had any. You submitted a partial first floor plan of the garage and a partial second floor plan, correct?
Yes,
All right, so if one could look at that and perhaps visualize what you're proposing, correct? Is the problem in the garage when you pull in your car that to open up the door, it's a 1938 garage
yes.
and it's so tight that you have trouble getting the door open and safely exiting the vehicle in the garage?
That, and also in my garage, the chimney is in there, so I lose a little bit space from part of the chimney sticking into the garage. So as I pull in, there's the chimney. That's why it's better to back in, because then I can open the door and just kind of slide into.
Looking at your house, I actually have, I believe, an identical floor plan to you. Your house looks like my house. So I certainly sympathize. I cannot myself use my garage at all. That being said, my concern is only this. The side in Old Niskuna, where I live also, we have 100-year-old trees on top of 80-year-old power lines, and they go out from time to time. And one of the things that needs to occur is emergency vehicles, work vehicles need to get into those backyards from time to time because if a pole goes down, they got to fix it. And those side lines provide enough room for those vehicles to get through. So do we know how far away the neighboring property is from their line? And if that will,
There's
can still get emergency vehicles in.
Nick's is 5 feet,
So he's 5 feet and you'll be 5 feet.
but on the other side, I have 20 feet.
Okay, but this would leave 10 feet on this side.
Would leave 7.
Okay, so this would essentially become inaccessible not essentially, this would become inaccessible to emergency vehicles?
Yeah, I mean, 10 is even tight for emergency vehicles, yeah.
Okay,
What's your clearance on the other side of the house?
The clearance is, I've got I've got a lot 2/5, so it's like 20 feet.
So from the edge of your house, as I'm facing your house on the right side, from the edge of the house to the property line, you have about 20 feet of clear space.
Yes,
So theoretically, if necessary, an emergency vehicle could access your backyard
absolutely.
on that side.
Yeah. But my neighbor on the other side I don't believe has any access to the back of their,
Well, you have one photograph, I think, that sort of depicts where your neighbor's house is. And it looks like it's, as with most houses in Old Niskuna, at least in certain spots, there's a tight space between the physical structures.
correct.
And is that, I believe Mr. Green asked this, and I apologize. Is that the person that wrote the letter is as you face your house on the left?
Yes,
Okay.
So with regard to like those situations where there's a need for emergency utility vehicles to get through, they would have had a hard time getting through in between the two houses the way it is now. And in any event, they're not going to go through there. They're going to go through on the right-hand side where there's
Yeah,
this much larger area to access any power lines in the back, correct?
correct. For instance, the neighbor on the right-hand side had a tree fall, and they asked us if they could back down our property, and the guy with the tree rig, he took the tree out from our yard. So, I mean, we've done this before for our neighbors.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Just got a quick question here.
Yes, sir.
And I know we went over this, but I just want to clarify a couple things. Right now, the way the garage is, it's working. The only thing is it's tight when you get inside trying to get out of the car.
Well, it's not really working. I can't keep my snow thrower in there. I have to put it 3 houses down the road. My neighbor lets me put it in their garage because they have a bigger garage. And then I have to, when it snows, I have to go and wheel it back down to do my driveway. I mean, I really can't get anything else in there.
Okay, so the new plan will allow you to store your snow machine or snow.
Yeah, I'm going to extend it a foot or two. I think it's like 2 feet. But the width will allow me to have the snow thrower on the side near the door so I can get it out when it snows. Whereas now, I can't even get it in there.
Okay, so I understand about the widths. Now, how about the depths? What are you trying to do there? Is the car longer than previous cars or?
The car I have now, we got 2 years, 2 years ago. And it's like a Honda Accord. It's that, I don't know what they call it, mid-size or that kind of thing. And when I bring it in, I have about this much room at the back. I think you have pictures there, or I took
Yeah,
pictures,
yeah.
and about, just enough to get the door closed. And I
Okay.
really can't put anything of any size.
So if you close that garage, you can't walk inside in front.
Around the car? I can't walk around the car, not at all. I can.
So those 2 feet will help you be able to maneuver around the car when the door is closed.
Yes. I have to back in now because the driver's side door will now be on the side where I can get out and get into the house. If I pull in straight ahead, I have to pull in so close to the steps to the door, get out, and I'd have to go outside, around the back of the car, inside, then close the garage door.
So you can't go around it if the door is closed.
Correct.
basically. Okay. All right, thank you.
So if your request is granted, you'll be able to pull your car in front first,
I can pull in front first, I can back it in,
right?
my choice.
Right, right now you don't have that opportunity.
No,
Got it.
And I think I heard you say in the beginning that you have to stop, put your mirrors in, and then back in.
yeah, the passenger mirror I have to put in because I have to back the car as close as I can to the wall and get it through the door. The door's not that wide, so that I can open the door and get out.
Would it be accurate to say that with your current footprint today, that you can use your garage for either storage or a vehicle?
Correct.
Okay.
And only in the winter, because in the summer, you got bikes and lawnmower and all that stuff that you need to have in there.
And I just want to make sure that I have this correct. You're facing in front of your house and you're looking over at your neighbor at 1425.
Mhm.
The portion of his house that's closest to you is their garage.
Their garage and their driveway.
So it's not as if this were granted, we're moving you into their porch or moving you into their bedroom,
Correct.
or you're moving them, it would be moving them toward a portion of their residence, which is their parking garage.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to be heard? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance. I don't believe that it can be achieved in any other way. I don't believe it'll be an undesirable change to the neighborhood. Although it is substantial, I think that there are lifestyle, health issues that make this unique. I don't believe this will have adverse physical or environmental effects. And so for those reasons, I make a motion to approve the variance.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion, Mr. Chairman. The only thing I would like to add, I think the applicant has tried different things to do in there, and it sounds like the only way that he can maneuver around the garage by having those 3 feet. And even though 3 feet is substantial, but we got a letter from the neighbor saying they have no objection to it. So I second the motion.
Have a vote?
Mr. Retief?
Yes, for all the reasons stated.
Ms. McGinnis?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Dolman?
So, yes, for the reasons stated, just I would like to add that my concern about the emergency vehicle access was mitigated by the fact that there is access on the other side of the property. So I vote yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes, for all of the reasons stated.
Mr. Hoke?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Chairman Frary?
Yes, for the reasons stated, and I would simply add that it's clear, given the location of his driveway and the location of his current garage, you can't put this anyplace else. So your variance is granted. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Very well.
Call the second case, please.
The appeal of Russ Hazen for a variance from section 220-13, Schedule ID, of the zoning ordinance of the town of Niskiuna as it applies to the property at 2321 Knott Street East, Suite 3, Niskiuna, New York, located in the CN Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District. Located in the CN Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District to install a facade sign that is larger than the code allows, section 220-13, Schedule ID of the ID allows for facade signs. 1 square foot of sign area shall be permitted for each linear foot of building frontage. Such facade signs shall be attached only to the building facade, shall not protrude more than 1 foot from the building facade, and shall be single-faced. Where uses are joined by a common wall, the sign area for facade sign shall not be combined into a common sign area. Under no circumstances shall any one facade sign exceed 50 square feet. Mathnasium has 19 linear feet of building frontage. Therefore, 19 square feet of facade sign should be allowed on each building front. As proposed, the facade sign is 29 square feet. Therefore, a 10 square foot variance for this section is required, or a waiver from the planning board is required. 17 notices were sent out, 0 responses, and we have a planning board approval. At a regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting held on November 18th, the planning board reviewed the proposal. The planning board voted 7-0 that there was no effect on the comprehensive plan. It noted there are other signs in the shopping center that are similar in size and type. The planning board voted 7-0 that it is suitable for the area in which it is proposed. The applicant is staying within the defined area for signs in the plaza. They removed the box sign that is part of their corporate logo in order to minimize the size. Also, the A+ is a little bit larger than the rest of the letters, but it's really only the A+ sign that causes the need for the size variance. The planning board voted 7-0 to recommend the zoning board grant the area variance to the sign.
Could you please come up and tell us who you are? And
Yes. My name is Russ Hazen. I'm with Ray's Sign Company.
Mr. Hazen, as I stated before, you heard that we are a board of 6 as opposed to a board of 7. You still need 4 out of the 6 for approval of the variance. So I'll ask you now, sir, would you like to proceed or defer to the December
We'll
meeting?
proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. Please tell us a little bit about your variance request.
Okay. Part of the application, we put in what is normally the branding of mathnasium. They always include this pillbox, we call it. And in looking at what the allowable square footage was and how we could fit this particular logo on that wall, the owner decided, hey, let's take the pillbox out. That would allow us to get a little taller letter height. And letter heights are very important to good signage. And those facades are way back from that road. And there's a lot of trees there as well. If we were to go to 19 square feet, these letters would be down under 10 inches, and that would almost be useless. The idea of good signage is to try to be seen as far as you can so people can determine where the location is without looking around or driving around. And this sign's not going to have any impact on anything over there. It would go up and you wouldn't even know it was there. That's how minimal the impact would be. And I think in fairness, it's in perspective to the wall area, and it's very much in tune with other signage in the plaza. Pretty simple request.
Any questions for the applicant?
Just a quick question. On the sign, would you guys have any lights on it or anything like that? Or
These are internally illuminated with LEDs.
LEDs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it follow, when does it go off? When does it go on? How does that work with that sign?
I believe there's timers that are within each of the store areas. So if there's a restriction on time when you want them on and off, you could put that in with the decision. I don't know what's been done in the past here, so.
Well, in the past, what we've done is we have restricted certain signs not to be on after certain times.
Right,
And I just want to make sure that we follow this on this sign here
right.
too.
And of course they would.
The sign next to that one in one of the pictures, did you guys do that sign too, or?
Yes, we did.
Okay, because it looks similar. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sir. Thank you. I just want to confirm. So there's a couple of images here. The one that has the pillbox on it, that is not the sign that we're
That is
talking.
not the sign.
Thank you. And then this sketch that you provided, is this to scale?
Yes, it is.
So this is
Pretty much what you're going to see.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right now, is the space vacant?
Was it vacant?
Is the space vacant?
It is now, yes.
And this business, has it moved in yet?
It has not. Or I think it may be under construction. I think
So it's going to happen.
Yeah, the tenant change was approved by planning board. They're under building permit now.
Thanks. May I inquire who might be the best person, perhaps you, Ms. Robertson? Did the Karma Bistro sign require any approval?
So in the ShopRite Plaza, applicants have the right to request a waiver from the planning board or a variance from the zoning board. And the Karma Bistro sign had a waiver from the planning board. Mathnasium decided to come to the zoning board. But yeah, I do believe Karma Bistro has a waiver.
All right, and then would it be fair to say that should this variance be granted for this particular sign, it would be substantially similar to the previously granted waiver with regard to the signs?
I think it is consistent, yeah.
One last question for me. Is this similar to other variances in that any future tenant would get the same variance, or would this be restricted to this tenant?
I think, right, we decided that the variance is specific to the sign.
That's correct. So if
So it'd just be this sign.
a new tenant came in, they'd have to get approval for if they needed a variant. If they're putting up another sign that didn't meet code, they'd have to get their own variance.
Okay.
And if I may, just for the record, as you're standing facing the Karma Bistro and the Mathusian, to the right is a large shopping center, correct? Yeah, thank you.
I think it's Mathnasium.
Mathnasium, thank you.
And it's not a restaurant.
Math wasn't my strong point.
Any other questions for the applicant? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve the application. The applicant has indicated that there are no other feasible means to accomplish the signage that's requested. The applicant has worked with presumably the franchisor to already get a waiver and limit the scope of the variance that would be needed by removing the pillbox. It's consistent with the other signs at the location. There's no undesirable effect on the neighborhood. In fact, it's consistent with the rest of the shopping center. In light of the placement of the sign, I don't view it as a substantial request, and I don't believe there's going to be any adverse physical or environmental effects as a result of the sign. And while it's self-created, that's not determinative. And for those reasons, I move to approve the application.
Do I have a second?
I would second that.
Call the roll.
Mr. Lataif,
Yes, all the reasons stated.
Ms. McGinnis,
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Dolman,
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Green,
Mathnasium. Yes.
I appreciate it.
Mr. Hoke,
Yes.
Chairman Frary.
Yes, for all the reasons stated. Your variance has been granted, sir. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Before we look to adjourn, we received today the 2020 calendar and the dates of the 2020 meeting schedule. I would ask everybody to please take a long look at it for religious holidays, school vacations. We've already had the notation, I believe, that the February date falls within the school vacation. So one of the things I would encourage is, and I believe Laura or someone has spoken to this, that we need to make a concerted effort in 2020 that we don't have 6-person boards. We have alternates, we have folks who spend a lot of time and dedicate their work to this board at no pay. So it's very important, the folks that come before us. So please take a long, hard look at this schedule. If you can identify early dates that you might not be available for religious holidays or school vacations, please let Laura, everybody know as soon as possible so that we can arrange for alternates if needed. So we will discuss this at the next meeting, the December meeting. Linda, correct? Okay. So you've got it ahead of time for a month. Please take a long look at it. Bring it with you to the next meeting so we can have a discussion if there's something that needs to be moved. And as we have in the past, we do move meetings. If the majority of folks say, listen, it's a holiday, it's a religious holiday, it's school vacation, we can move a meeting, vote and move a meeting. But we just need to do that so the public is aware. Any other order of business? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everyone have a nice Thanksgiving.